I was contemplating suicide. 73 years old. I had nobody else to turn to. Nobody. I'd lost everything. This charity, they're the ones that give me my life back. And they're not just doing it for me, they're doing it for many, many others as well. My name is Dennis Culyer, and I served with the Green Howards from 1970 to 1977. I did 4 tours of Northern Ireland and also served in Germany. I lost everything after the breakdown of my marriage, and I was faced with the frightening prospect of being homeless at the age of 73. And if it wasn't for the military charities, I'd now be sleeping on the streets or worse. The first tour I did, riots practically every day. I remember having to spend 3 nights under a pig, which is an armoured vehicle, because of the riots. And we had to stay out there because the crowds sometimes opened up and they'd shoot. Once I left, it was a new chapter in my life. I finished up working as steelworks, and then I worked on the railway for 12 years, and I left the railway to go live in Thailand. I sold my house, I went to Bangkok, passed up to be teaching English as a second language. Now, sadly, I had to leave all that behind. I was told by Rotherham Council, because I'd been out of the country for 22 years, I wasn't entitled to a home or any help. And at my age, at 73, it was no laughing joke to be told they're not going to help me. That first night, I had to use basically nearly the rest of my funds to stay at a hotel. It was either that to go down by the canal and sleep down there somewhere. It was Steve Bantham Bates and their charity for the homeless veterans that helped me out. Without them, I would have been really, really desperate. They give me my life back. Sorry. There's nothing I could do ever to repay them, the people that work at this charity, because they're the ones that saved me.
My name is Steve Bentham Bates. I'm the CEO of Help for Homeless Veterans, have been now since 2015. I got a phone call, I think it was the 9th of May, and there was a 73-year-old gentleman down at Rotherham Council offices that couldn't help him for whatever reason. But he had served in the army. Can our charity help him? So they put him on the phone. I spoke to Dennis. I said, right, well, get a taxi. I'll give you the money when you get there, and get yourself to the Premier Inn. And I met Dennis. We had a quick chat and booked him into the hotel for just over a week to give us some breathing space, really, to try and come up with a better long-term solution. He literally was not death's door, but he was certainly desperate, because he'd no way of helping himself at that point. He got himself home to his hometown to literally have the door slammed in his face. It upsets you as well, because you think, thank God I was available that time, because otherwise there had just been a few lines in the newspaper if he was lucky. It really makes you question when someone that's done 4 tours in Northern Ireland and they won't help you. Fortunately, we don't think like that, and we got him off the street. We then went back to the council and said, look, what are you going to do? We've got a 73-year-old man. This is social services work. Eventually they kicked in, and then they started paying for the hotel. And it really makes you think, sometimes you just need a helping hand. I've got a photograph of Dennis from the first time we met in the council offices, and he looked so glum. I got a photograph of him last week before, in his flat. Got his carpets down now, he's got bits and pieces in there. He's like a dog with two tails now, because his life is completely turned around and he's starting to rebuild family connections back in the UK. We've introduced him to another group where he gets a Conradship, and he's already been out and helped us on Armed Forces Day in Rotherham. He got his photograph taken with the mayor. 9 weeks before that, the council wouldn't touch him with a barge pole. It was a severe case, one of the more difficult cases, but to see where we are now, all that effort was worthwhile, so that the next Dennis that turns up, we're ready to help them as well. Without the Veterans Foundation, we wouldn't have been able to help as many veterans as we have. We simply wouldn't have had enough funds to provide the help that we have given out. You know, it runs into many hundreds of thousands now over the years. But the Veterans Foundation have been extremely supportive.
How important, not just for yourself, just in general, are military charities? How important?
There'd be a lot of people like me in really, really desperate situations. And without these charities, they'd be lost. That's for sure.
But you feel like you've got your life back?
Oh, I know I've got my life back. And it's all because of this charity. That's without a doubt. If you'd like to help veterans like myself, please play the Veterans Lottery.